Welcome, 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 welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to do a moonology reading of Jupiter in retrograde. So, for those of you who may not know, Jupiter is a planet that is currently in retrograde. It's going to be in retrograde from April 10th, 2009 to August 11th, 2019. Ooh, I got my years all messed up. April 10th, 2019 to August 11th, 2019. But there are these periods called shadow periods. So it's the gradual build up into the retrograde. And so we really started feeling this Jupiter in retrograde January 14th, 2019. And we're going to complete it fully by November 5th, 2019. So I'm going to do a reading on this with our Moonology Oracle deck. Okay, let's jump on in. So I really, really love this Moonology Oracle deck. And the reason why I love it so much is because whenever I explain astrology, I explain it like this. I say, the reason why we have the tides in the ocean is because of the gravitational pull between the moon and the earth. And so if the moon has that deep impact on us or on the water, you can only imagine how it impacts us living beings, considering that we're walking around and we're 70% water. So of course it's going to impact our feelings specifically and other things as well. And so we have a connection to planets that feel the exact way, that have a unique connection. And so I'm going to shuffle this deck up. And of course I'm setting the intention that we're going to get some insight for this cycle of Jupiter in retrograde. Now, when a planet is in retrograde, it's in retrograde in a sign. And Jupiter is in retrograde in Sagittarius. Now, the important thing about this is that Sagittarius rules Jupiter. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So this is its native sign. That means that it's going to feel at home in these lessons, or it's going to illuminate certain themes. So I'm going to do this 5-card spread first. And then I'm going to go and I am going to explain to you the rest of Jupiter in retrograde. Okay, so for Jupiter in retrograde, it is a time for wisdom. It is a time for personal expansion. It is a time for higher education, for manifesting. But whenever something is in retrograde, it means you're doing all that work on the inside. So it's less of a time of action, and you might feel like you want to take an action and you want to just go ahead and do it. And the reason why I would say wait to at least after August 10th is because you might realize that at the beginning of the retrograde, you might be interested in something very different than at the end of the retrograde. So instead of wasting time, money, energy, all of those things, just be patient. The work, it happens on the inside. So more on manifesting. Manifesting is the concept of believing and seeing something before it physically happens. And it's because of that belief that you are able to allow something to happen. Now, this Jupiter in retrograde is like an evolutionary step. It means the way that you have manifested things before probably is no longer working. You might notice in the past couple of years that you haven't been able to manifest in the way that you used to. That's because you were a big fish in a small pond. You mastered that. Now you're a little fish in a big pond. It's time to learn some new ways to do that. But in order to realize what you should be doing, you got to go inside. You got to do that internal work. And Jupiter And retrograde in Sagittarius is giving us that opportunity to really do that work, that wisdom. How can we manifest? How can we grow? How can we be as large as we possibly can be? And it's all about believing. I say this all the time. Authentic power, true authentic power, is centered around self-belief. If you can believe in yourself before you've proved it, before you're ready, and you can be realistic about you doing it and putting in effort regardless of the naysayers, and sometimes the naysayers can be in your head. If you can do that, you can create anything. You can create more than what you expected, but you got to be open to allowing those goals to change, allowing your dreams to be bigger, and let go of that baggage that we carry around. So this Jupiter is really giving us the opportunity to free ourselves from all of that past muck. So Jupiter is retrograde in Sagittarius. It also impacts the houses. Now, if your rising sign is in Sagittarius, that means that it is in your first house. If your rising sign is after Sagittarius, which would be Capricorn, then that means it would be in your second house, and it continues to go on like that. Now, if you don't know your rising sign, you can also use your sun sign. So, for example, if you are a Capricorn, you would look at how Jupiter and Sagittarius in your second house, how that's impacting you. And so you can just follow that pattern. At least it's kind of like the bare minimum of how it impacts you. But right now I'm just going to do a general reading of how it impacts us as a whole. So Jupiter is all about expansion. I pulled the card from our Moonology card deck. I think that this Oracle deck is so fitting because we're looking at planetary alignment. So we're really anchored down in our black tourmaline, and we feel this power of illumination with our selenite. And together we're going to get some insight. So I'm going to flip this bottom row. Ooh, I got some cards upside down. Okay. Ooh. You know, I'm saying ooh and ah. Wow, this is so amazing. This is really so amazing. I just have to point this out. I have been consistently getting this card, this South Node card, especially when I'm pulling cards for our community. This card continues to come up time and time and time and time again. And the reason why it's coming up is because when you get stuck in depression or anxiety or low self-confidence, it's because you're not allowing yourself to let go of the past. So this card says South Node. It says release your past, let go of your past. Life is ready to move on. Everything else is ready to move on. Even opportunities, even if they're challenging, they're ready to move on. But you got to make a decision to let it go. And if you're constantly recriminalizing yourself and not allowing yourself to acknowledge your own spiritual growth, acknowledge your own personal growth, then you're going to stay forever stuck in the past. And really, it's just this baggage that's unnecessary. So the great thing about retrograde is it is a perfect time to take some evaluation, take some notes, and make some decisions about what you want to let go. Around August 11th, when Jupiter goes direct again, really begin or start to execute an action plan. Don't do it during the retrograde, but take those steps then, because that's when the universe is going to support you. Because if you take steps now, you're going to receive a little bit of backlash because you're still moving from the way that you saw things before. So I'm going to put that down, and I'm just going to look at our lower deck, our lower cards. And so we have two cards upside down. On this lower deck, it's third quarter moon. Adjustments are required. We have a new moon. A new start is coming. And I have the void of course moon. Nothing will come of this situation. Ooh. And this is the card, the third quarter moon, adjustments are required, that was upside down. Now, super important to pay attention to what we're talking about right here. So if we're talking about letting go of the past, that means we're going to have to make some adjustments. And I'm going to emphasize this recriminalization, that we do it to ourselves over and over again. You know, you may have naysayers or people who say you can't do something, but I guarantee the things that you are making up in your mind that you think that they're saying on top of what they're doing is 10 times worse, because sometimes we can be our worst critic. So during this time of retrogrades, really just tap in to making those adjustments, those necessary adjustments, and just being receptive to them and just being okay with that. So go ahead and drop that down. And so a new start is coming. So really, August 11th, set a calendar reminder that this is when you should begin to execute those plans that you have taken to grow and to expand and to manifest. This is a time of manifesting. And also, this is the void moon. So nothing will come of this situation. So that's making peace of your past. Making the decision to let go of these things that are no longer going to work. You had friends that came and gone. Boom. You had family that you really wish that you could have connected better, but you just kind of realize who they are. Let it go. You had job opportunities that seemed so great, and now just life is not aligned with that, and you just feel like, man, couldn't I have gone back and done this over? Let it go. Let all that stuff go. Even health-wise, you may have felt like, oh, I used to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Well, maybe you're doing something different, or you may have gone on your healing path to heal illness, and it's pointing you in the direction forward into better consciousness, better understanding your finances as well, making the decision that you're going to live within your means, that you are going to do more with less, that you are consciously going to make that decision. Before, you might have felt like, okay, you know, I'll take as much as I can get, and, you know, the more the merrier. But now it's more about being precise about what you're going to do and just letting go of things that are no longer serving you. Okay, and so our second row, we have a full moon in Libra, which is a win-win outcome in the forecast. Okay, y'all are very spectacular. And this card was upside down. It is a North Node card. Step out of your comfort zone. You all, I get so excited about this because in astrology, I specifically love North Node and South Node. And I can talk more about that if that's something you all are really interested in. But just an indication that the South Node and the North Node came up in this reading is letting us know that we got to look at our path as a whole. So this North Node is saying to us, step out of those comfort zone. That's where you should be traveling, but it's going to be a little bit difficult because it's like you're throwing the old roadmap out because it's outdated and you got to write a new roadmap. But the path is laid out there for you. You already got the pavement down on the ground. And so when we're stepping into this Jupiter in retrograde cycle, understand that it's a win-win. So if you really take the time out and you make those adjustments that you need, this is going to be a win-win situation for you, okay? There we go. This is going to be a win-win situation for you, but you have to make those adjustments and do that internal work. It's not always about action, moving the physical body. Sometimes it's about being mindful about what you're doing. Step out of your comfort zone. That means walk into your path. So if you suffer from imposter syndrome, if you suffer from feeling like you are not good enough, but yet you got all these wonderful gifts to share, I implore you to step out and just do it and stand up to the critics, stand up to your internal bullies, stand up to the naysayers. You don't have to be combative. You can just be assertive. You can simply put yourself out there, and if someone doesn't like it, you could tell them to kick rocks. And if you need a little help, tell them I told you to say it. And then of course we have on the top our South Node releasing the path. the past. So this is giving us a full picture. This is really going to be a transformational period for yourself if you let yourself happen. Now, sometimes we may feel agitated during retrograde cycles because it brings up feelings of anxiety, and it brings up feelings of depression and things like that. And the reason why we might have compulsive needs, a need to quickly just make some irrational decision. I gotta go buy this, or I gotta go do this, or I gotta do this or that situation, is because we feel unsafe. That's all it simply comes down to. And when we make these irrational decisions very quickly, we're giving ourselves a false sense of being safe. Instead, we should open ourselves up to this life that we really should be living. Instead of trying to worry about everybody else's feelings, worry about your own feelings. Worry about your own needs and your own path. Let the things come up to come out. That's why they're coming up to come out. If you need some extra support, definitely reach out to mental health advocates, to your community, to your support system. But deep down, you have to do the work. No one can tell you the path that you're on except for yourself. You got to do that work, and I know that you can do it. I really trust and believe in you. And so this was Jupiter in retrograde in Sagittarius, so it's explaining everything that you need to know. Just a quick reminder, it has gone into retrograde from April 10th through August 11th, 2019. That pre-shadow period was January 14th, 2019, and we're going to release all of this learning energy by November 5th, 2019. So that entire period is going to be great growth, and it's specifically about manifesting. So you're going to learn some new ways to manifest. Now, pay attention to my next video, because I'm going to do some specific Jupiter and retrograde healing specifically for you all. I'm also going to do a Uranus in Taurus in retrograde coming up. I am so excited about doing this retrograde because there are some really important qualities that we need to gear ourselves up on with Uranus in retrograde. It's about self-worth. It's about that money, and we're going to figure it out together. And again, thank you for tuning in today. And remember to take care of yourself, to love yourself, and to know that you have infinite power.